Hello friends, today we'll be helping you guys with SQL interview question and answers. So let's get started. What is RDBMS? Relational Database Management Systems. RDBMS are database management systems that maintain data records and indices in tables. Relationships may be created and maintained across and among data and tables. In a relational database, relationships between data items are expressed by means of tables. Interdependencies among these tables are expressed by data values rather than by pointers. This allows a high degree of data independence, and RDBMS has the capability to recombine the data items from different files, providing powerful tools for data usage. What is normalization? Database normalization is a data design and organization process applied to data structure based on rules that help build relational databases. In relational database design, the process of organizing data to minimize redundancy. Normalization usually involves dividing a database into two or more tables and defining relationships between the tables. The objective is to isolate data so that additions, deletions, and modifications of a field can be made in just one table and then propagated through the rest of the database via the defined relationships. What are different normalization forms? First normalization form, eliminate repeating groups. Make a separate table for each set of related attributes and give each table a primary key. Each field contains at most one value from its attribute domain. Second normal form, eliminate redundant data. If an attribute depends on only power of a multi-valued key, remove it to a separate table. Third normal form, eliminate columns not dependent on key. If attributes do not contribute to a description of the key, remove them to a separate table. All attributes must be directly dependent on the primary key. Boy's code normal form BCNF. If there are non-trivial dependencies between candidate key attributes, separate them out into distinct tables. Similarly, we also have fourth normal form, isolate independent multiple relationships. Fifth normal form, isolate semantically related multiple relationships. ONF, optical normal form. DKNF, domain key normal form. Remember, these normalization guidelines are cumulative. For a database to be in third normal form, it must first fulfill all the criteria of a second normal form and first normal form database. What is stored procedure? A stored procedure is a named group of SQL statements that have been previously created and stored in the server database. Stored procedures accept input parameters so that a single procedure can be used over the network by several clients using different input data. And when the procedure is modified, all clients automatically get the new version. Stored procedures reduce network traffic and improve performance. Stored procedures can be used to help ensure the integrity of the database. Example, sp underscore help db, sp underscore rename db, sp underscore depends, etc. What is trigger? A trigger is a SQL procedure that initiates an action when an event, for example insert, delete or update occurs. Triggers are stored in and managed by the DBMS. Triggers are used to maintain the referential integrity of data by changing the data in a systematic fashion. A trigger cannot be called or executed. The DBMS automatically fires the trigger as a result of a data modification to the associated table. Triggers can be viewed as similar to stored procedure in that both consist of procedural logic that is stored at the database level. Stored procedures, however, are not event-driven and are not attached to a specific table as triggers are. Stored procedures are explicitly executed by invoking a call to the procedure, while triggers are implicitly executed. In addition, triggers can also execute stored procedures. Nested trigger. A trigger can also contain insert, update, and delete logic within itself. So when the trigger is fired because of data modification, it can also cause another data modification, thereby firing another trigger. A trigger that contains data modification logic within itself is called a nested trigger. What is view? A simple view can be thought of as a subset of a table. It can be used for retrieving data as well as updating or deleting rows. Rows updated or deleted in the view are updated or deleted in the table the view was created with. It should also be noted that as data in the original table changes, so does data in the view. As views are the way to look at part of the original table, the results of using a view are not permanently stored in the database. The data accessed through a view is actually constructed using a standard T-SQL select command and can come from one to many different base tables or even other views. What is index? An index is a physical structure containing pointers to the data. Indices are created in an existing table to locate rows more quickly and efficiently. It is possible to create an index on one or more columns of a table, and each index is given a name. The users cannot see the indexes, they are just used to speed up queries. Effective indexes are one of the best ways to improve performance in a database application. A table scan happens when there is no index available to help a query. In a table scan, SQL Server examines every row in the table to satisfy the query results. Table scans are sometimes unavoidable, but on large tables, scans have a terrific impact on performance. Clustered indexes define the physical sorting of database tables rows in the storage media. For this reason, each database table may have only one clustered index. Non-clustered indexes are created outside of the database table and contain a sorted list of references to the table itself. What is the difference between clustered and a non-clustered index? A clustered index is a special type of index that reorders the way records in the table are physically stored. Therefore, table can have only one clustered index. The leaf nodes of a clustered index contain the data pages. A non-clustered index is a special type of index in which the logical order of the index does not match the physical stored order of the rows on disk. The leaf node of a non-clustered index does not consist of the data pages. Instead, the leaf nodes contain index rows. What are the different index configurations a table can have? A table can have one of the following index configurations: no indexes, a clustered index, a clustered index and many non-clustered indexes, a non-clustered index, many non-clustered indexes. What is cursors? Cursor is a database object used by applications to manipulate data in a set on a row-by-row basis. Instead of the typical SQL commands that operate on all the rows in the set at one time, in order to work with a cursor, we need to perform some steps in the following order. First, declare cursor. Second, open cursor. Third, fetch row from the cursor. 4. Process fetched row. 5th, close cursor. And 6th, deallocate cursor. What is the use of DBCC commands? DBCC stands for Database Consistency Checker. We use these commands to check the consistency of the databases, that is maintenance, validation tasks, and status checks. Example: DBCC CHECKDB ensures that tables in the DB and the indexes are correctly linked. DBCC CHECKALLOC to check that all pages in a DB are correctly allocated. DBCC CHECKFILEGROUP. So that's DBCC check file group. Checks all tables file group for any damage. What is a linked server?